Good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The Freebies war is getting fiercer by the day. It's not surprising that the Aam Aadmi Party is coming out all guns blazing on this issue, as Arvind Kejriwal did today. Because this is very much an existential question for them. The Aam Aadmi Party has made a name for itself with its free water and electricity promises that they repeat in every state after Delhi. This promise is so potent that one often forgets to ask, in the near 10 years that the Aam Aadmi Party has been in power in Delhi, exactly what has changed? The BJP, also worried about this trend that has given them tough competition, is very keen to curb this menace of freebies free fall, and no wonder is opposing it tooth and nail versus its own welfare model. Where does welfare stop and freebies begin? Is that a fine line or an obvious one? We will take that to our guests in just a bit, but first, let me break down what transpired in court today. Remember, this battle has been taken cognizance by the Supreme Court that has also expressed worry over this general culture that is increasing. So today, the Solicitor General has once again gone on record to say that if freebies are considered to be welfare, it will lead to disaster. Remember, the Solicitor General has batted for a panel to look into this that was first mooted by the Supreme Court as well. The Aam Aadmi Party has also now made itself a party as far as this case is concerned. They are saying that there is a difference between welfare schemes and freebies. But they come under attack that their freebies are actually freebies and not really welfare. What has the Supreme Court said? The Supreme Court has raised a red flag. It has said that the economy is facing serious issues due to quote-unquote freebies. Like I said, the SG went on to push for a panel that will include the following: the central government secretary, state government secretaries, representatives of all political parties, the Reserve Bank of India, Finance Commission of India, National Taxpayers Associations, and those who are supporters of freebies. The Election Commission, though, refused to be a part of any such panel, saying that they are a constitutional body and therefore they would not like to share space in a panel that can be very much political. So the big debate that's coming up today, do shortcuts really help the Aam Aadmi? We'll get you that in just a bit, but before that, listen into how the rhetoric and the high-pitched battle over freebies is also escalating.
झूठ बोलने का नया कीर्तिमान बना दिया। दिल्ली मॉडल हो गया है फेल। अरविंद केजरीवाल आकर झूठ की लगा रहे हैं रेल।
इन्होंने अपने दोस्तों के, इन्होंने बहुत सुपर रिच लोगों के, जो अरबपति लोग हैं, ऐसे लोगों के इन्होंने 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए के कर्जे माफ कर दिए।
All right, let's go across to our guests who are joining us. RP Singh is joining us from the BJP, Priyanka Kakkar from the Aam Aadmi Party. Also with me on the show today is Kishore Subramaniam, who is a financial expert and really will cut through the political rhetoric. But let me start with Priyanka Kakkar first up. Priyanka, you know, we have discussed this earlier, and it is not sufficient to just say that you have written off certain bad loans, and that is why what the Aam Aadmi offers as freebies is okay. These are apples and oranges. The two cannot be compared. Is it not misleading the country when you compare write-offs with freebies?
Absolutely not, Shivani. The intention or the rationale behind that is that when you can write off 11 lakh crore ka loan of the few favorite corporate friends, you could very well invest this money onto the public. But having said that, it's not just that aspect, Shivani. Since the BJP spokesperson is sitting with us, I'd like to ask a very simple question. So you cut the Manrega budget by a 25%. You cut the health research budget by a 35%. You cut the education budget by a 8,000 crore is the amount that you cut there. Then you cut the defense budget by 80,000 crores. Then you then you introduce an Agniveer scheme. The rationale behind introducing that scheme is that they are no longer able to pay the pension of the army personnel. So you cut the pension of the army men. Then you cut the, you collect about 3.5 lakh crores per year when you increase the rates, rate of petrol 78 times. Then you then there are 100 PSUs that you sell for about 2.5 lakh crores, or they're in the process of being sold. Then where is this money gone, Shivani? Where is this money gone, And 11 lakh crore on one side you write off of your corporate friends. Secondly, you also give them a corporate tax rate cut, which amounts to about 3.5 lakh crore per year.
But is
What
that
are you
not good
doing
for
with this money?
businesses?
What is the situation?
Is that
of
not
the-
what the industry wanted? Do you want India to be
Shivani,
business
that's a
unfriendly?
very complex question and will require a separate debate altogether.
Okay.
We will then have to discuss how many companies have left India, how many companies set up in India, what is the reality of Make in India. That will require a whole
I'll take your
different
question of where is all the money
I'm happy
going.
to
You
be on
talked
it.
about the Agniveer scheme. It is also
Yes.
possible to talk about
Yes,
the defense
please.
acquisition that has grown over the last few years. But I'll take that to RP Singh of the BJP. Ashwini Upadhyay, who's the petitioner in this case, is also joining us, and I do thank you for your time. But I just want to establish one more time. Write-offs as far as bad loans are concerned does not mean the money is lost. That money continues to be recoverable. So let's not say that that money has just vanished. So that is something that we have to be
Shivani, I'd like to
accurate
come in
about.
for 1 second,
Let's
please.
not really, let's not be economical with the
please,
truth.
Let me please.
I'll come back to you. Priyanka, I'll come back
Let
to you.
me be-
Before I
let
go
me
to
be-
Ashwini,
let me
I'll
be
give
full
RP Singh an
disclosure then.
opportunity to
Sure.
respond to you. The primary question that Aam Aadmi Party today is asking and Arvind Kejriwal is asking, you're cutting everything. You're minimizing everything. You want to be leaner, meaner everywhere. But then where is that money going? And why do you object if they want to give free healthcare, free education, and free electricity and water to their citizens where they are in power? Why?
Okay, Shivani, let me start with where you're ending. I mean, free healthcare. I give you a challenge. Today, there is no free healthcare in Delhi except those mohalla clinics where animals walk in and walk out. I mean, there's no free healthcare. I appreciate next time Mr. Kejriwal or his family member or his cabinet members get unwell, God bless, they should not, but if they get unwell, they should go and get themselves treated in government hospital. They go to all private hospitals, they go to Max, they go to some other celebrity hospitals, Fortis and other hospitals. None
Okay,
of them go
fair
to
enough.
any of the government hospitals. That's the condition of the Delhi. Can I give me a second, Shivani, give me a second. No, this is health. Let's talk about education. I give you a challenge. More than 50% schools don't have principals in Delhi. Vice principal in Delhi. Temporary teachers in Delhi. The administrators of the officers of the Delhi Education Board go to classes and say, आप क्वेश्चन के आंसर की जगह क्वेश्चन भी लिख दो, हम आपको पास कर देंगे. There's a condition. More than 75% of schools don't have science as education, as a subject. This is the education model of the Mr. Kejriwal.
Okay,
This
but
is
come
one
to the
point.
central
I give
question
another
they're
challenge.
asking.
Give me second, Shivani.
Central government का पैसा कहाँ जा रहा है?
5 seconds. Can I give मैं अभी दे रहा हूँ आंसर दे रहा हूँ आपके सारे एक आंसर मैं चैलेंज दे रहा हूँ मिस्टर केजरीवाल को उनकी अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में बापू धाम नाम से एक एरिया है एक हफ्ता वहां का पानी पीने और उसके बाद सरकारी अस्पताल में इलाज कराएं मेरा चैलेंज स्वीकार करें ही कैन ड्रिंक दैट वाटर व्हिच हैज बीन सर्व्ड टू दोस पीपल इन बापू धाम फॉर 1 week and man will be hospitalized for months together. This is the condition of Delhi. अभी बारिश का सीजन है. More than 177 places will have waterlogged in Delhi, and then it's year after year which happens. In winters we suffer from pollution. There is not a single road being built in Delhi in last 7 years. Not a single flyover. Not a single hospital. Not a new single college. Not a single school in Delhi. What are you talking about?
Okay,
This is
fair
the
enough.
model of
I'll take that to
model of
them,
freebies.
but I want to
Accept-
ask you the primary question that is being asked today कि आप सब जगह से पैसा कम कर रहे हो, तो वो पैसा जा कहाँ रहा है? सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पे ये सवाल उठाया है आज.
पहली बात तो अच्छा हाँ मैं सॉरी सर लेट मी कंप्लीट अभी वो कह रहे थे कि 100 PSUs have been sold. I give another challenge. After this, immediately after this debate or during this debate, let us give the list of those 100 PSUs. अरे झूठ बोलकर they said when they came to power they said हम लोग बड़े बड़े कॉर्पोरेट्स की जेब में डाका डालकर आपको हम फ्री बिजली देंगे. Rather they are giving subsidy to those corporates now. They are giving subsidy of 6,000 crore rupees every year to corporates to provide for some little electricity which comes to certain people, not for complete Delhi. Although other taxes are added.
Sir, you're not answering my question.
Also, but that point aside, I'm answering that. कहाँ कट हुआ एजुकेशन पे अगेन फॉल्स नो इज नो कट ऑन एजुकेशन बजट देयर इज नो कट ऑन डिफेंस बजट दिस ऑल फॉल्स प्रोपेगेंडा एंड देन एज यू सेड when that 10 lakh crore is being set aside. It's not that that money is gone. That money is recoverable, and then government of India is recovering each and every penny with each and every corporate. And as far giving certain corporate tax, give me a second, Shivani, you gave a long period. As far corporate tax goes, India is the most favorite destination today in this part of the world as far the investment comes. And then who gave food to 80 crore people during the corona? ये तो भाग्य थे यहाँ से. ये तो इन्होंने लोगों को भगा दिया था. They shoot with the people from the border to go back to their houses. They promised that we will provide money to each and every Purvanchali, every worker in Delhi. Not a single has been provided with any assistance in Delhi. Other than that,
okay, sir, one second. Now hold on. Let me go across to Ashwini Upadhyay. Ashwini Upadhyay, बहुत से लोग ये सवाल आज पूछ रहे हैं कि वेलफेयर और सब्सिडी में क्या फर्क है, क्योंकि आप पिटिशनर हैं इन केस में. जब गरीब कल्याण योजना के तहत अनाज दिया जाता है गरीब लोगों को, पैंडेमिक में दिया गया है, क्या वो भी फ्रीबी नहीं है? फिर फ्रीबी और वेलफेयर को आप कैसे सेपरेट करेंगे?
नहीं शिवानी जी, रोटी कपड़ा मकान की व्यवस्था करना, बिजली देना, पानी देना, अच्छा स्कूल देना, अच्छा हॉस्पिटल देना, ये वेलफेयर स्कीम है. ये हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन भी कहता है. लेकिन कलर टीवी, वॉशिंग मशीन, फ्रिज और लैपटॉप, स्मार्टफोन और फिर सीधे और भी अलग चीजें जो दी जा रही हैं, वो फ्रीबीज है, वो मुफ्तखोरी है. आप जरा इसको समझिए. मैं तू मैं नहीं जाता. मैंने किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी को अपने पीआईएल में पार्टी बनाया था. ये तो आम आदमी पार्टी दौड़ी चली आई. वो कहते नहीं चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका, वो भागी सुप्रीम कोर्ट आई. अदरवाइज इतनी सारी पॉलिटिकल पार्टियां, राष्ट्रीय पार्टी कोई आई नहीं, कांग्रेस आई नहीं, बीजेपी आई नहीं, सपा बसपा, आरजेडी, आरएलडी या टीएमसी तो कोई आया नहीं. एक इकलौती पार्टी आई है.
क्योंकि उनको लग रहा है आप उनको अटैक कर रहे हैं. उन्होंने आपके ऊपर पर्सनल अटैक भी किया है कि आप बीजेपी का एजेंडा चला रहे हैं एसपीआईएल के तहत.
नहीं वो तो चलाते रहे. हम तो 150 पीआईएल कर चुके हैं. हम एक दो नहीं, 150 पीआईएल कर चुके हैं. इलेक्शन रिफॉर्म, पुलिस रिफॉर्म, जुडिशियल रिफॉर्म पे मेरी इस समय 2 दर्जन से ज्यादा सुप्रीम कोर्ट में पीआईएल चल रही. मैं उस पर नहीं जाता. मैं तो सिंपल ये कहता हूं, अगर आप चलो आम आदमी पार्टी आई इसलिए उसी को रिस्पॉन्ड कर देता हूं. बड़ी सीधी सी बात है. इस समय भारत में 150 लाख करोड़ का कर्जा है. सेंटर और स्टेट मिला के 150 लाख करोड़. स्टेट्स के ऊपर लगभग 70 लाख करोड़, सेंटर के ऊपर 80 लाख करोड़, दोनों मिला के 150 लाख करोड़. आने वाले टाइम में अगर इस कर्जे को नहीं कम करेंगे, ना हमें वर्ल्ड बैंक पैसा देगा, ना हमें अमेरिका देगा, ना जापान देगा. और स्थिति यह है कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, खासतौर पे जो जितने भी राज्य यहाँ पे हैं, चाहे वो पंजाब सरकार हो, चाहे कोई सी और सरकार हो, अपने एम्प्लॉइज को सैलरी नहीं दे पा रहे हैं. और सैलरी छोड़ दीजिए, जो उन्होंने कर्जा लिया उसका ब्याज नहीं दे पा रहे. जहां तक मैं दिल्ली की बात करूं, जो मुफ्त की योजना कह रहे हैं, मैं तो कह रहा हूं, आप दिल्ली का कोई एक स्कूल बता दीजिए जहां पे आम आदमी पार्टी के विधायक, सांसद या आम आदमी पार्टी के जो ऑफिस बियर रहे हैं उनके बच्चे पढ़ते हो. आपके बच्चे प्राइवेट स्कूल में पढ़ते हैं, लेकिन आप कह रहे हैं आपने स्कूल को वर्ल्ड क्लास बना दिया. आपके बच्चे, आपके परिवार के लोग, सांसदों के, विधायकों के परिवार के लोग कभी गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में जाते नहीं. आपने कह रहे कि हॉस्पिटल बहुत अच्छा कर दिया.
बट वो तो डिलीवरी की बात हो गई ना अश्विनी जी. वो बात हो गई कि आप सरकार की परफॉर्मेंस को असेस करें. इसमें फ्रीबीज का मामला नहीं है. आपको फ्रीबीज जो दिल्ली सरकार की तरफ से, क्योंकि दिल्ली सरकार कूद गई है इसमें, आपको क्या लगता है ये फ्री वाटर, फ्री इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जो एक सर्टेन लेवल तक वो देते हैं, क्या वो फ्रीबी है? क्योंकि वो तो वही डिपेंड कर रहे हैं.
नहीं शिवानी जी, आप जरा समझिए. पहले आप लोगों को शुद्ध पानी दे दीजिए. ऐसा पानी दे दीजिए जिससे कि डायरिया ना हो. आप शुद्ध पानी दे नहीं रहे. आप दिल्ली में वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट लगा नहीं रहे. लोगों को गंदा पानी दे रहे हैं मुफ्त में. आपने 50 रुपए का पानी दिया, वो पानी पीने के बाद गरीब परेशान हो रहा है, उसका इलाज कराना पड़ रहा है, उसकी जो दिहाड़ी थी वो बंद हो गई है. अब उसको 14-15 हजार रुपए का आरओ का प्लांट खरीदना पड़ रहा है. तो भैया ये 14-50 रुपए के पानी में आप गरीब के ऊपर बर्डन क्यों बढ़ा रहे हैं? उससे बढ़िया आप 2-4 वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट लगा दो. सबको डोर टू डोर आप 24 घंटे छोड़ दो, 4 घंटे 5 घंटे आप उसको नल से जल दे दो. आप नल से जल अच्छा पानी देने की बजाय आप उसको गंदा पानी पिला के उसको बीमार कर रहे हैं. उसको दिहाड़ी खराब हो रही है, उसको हॉस्पिटल जाना पड़ रहा है, उसको आरओ और वाटर फिल्टर खरीदना पड़ रहा है. आप वो नहीं कर रहे हो. आप गवर्नमेंट का स्कूल ऐसा बना दो जहां आपके साथ, भाई मनीष सिसोदिया के बच्चे क्यों नहीं सरकारी स्कूल में पढ़ते? इनके आम आदमी पार्टी के जितने नेता पदाधिकारी हैं, ये क्यों नहीं सरकारी स्कूल पढ़ते? अगर गवर्नमेंट दिल्ली का सरकारी स्कूल वर्ल्ड क्लास हो गया तो क्यों नहीं कर रहे?
Okay, I'll take that to the Aam Aadmi Party representative. But Ashwini Upadhyay, what is your primary hope from this petition? Exactly क्या रोकना चाह रहे हैं आप? सरकार आएगी और उसकी परफॉर्मेंस तो जज होगी, वो तो अलग चीज है. उन्होंने पानी दिया, अच्छा दिया, नहीं दिया.
मैं 2 चीज रोकना चाह रहा हूं.
बताइए.
मैं घूसखोरी और मुफ्तखोरी. दुर्भाग्यवश आम आदमी पार्टी, इसलिए मैं नाम ले रहा हूं कि ये पार्टी बनी थी घूसखोरी रोकने के लिए. इसने घूसखोरी तो रोका नहीं, घूसखोरी रोकने के लिए कोई कदम उठाया नहीं, घूसखोरी को भी बढ़ाया और मुफ्तखोरी को बढ़ाया। भाई मैंने 7 लोगों का एक मेंबर हमने पैनल सजेस्ट किया सुप्रीम कोर्ट को, उसमें मैंने कहा कि चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर हो, फाइनेंस कमीशन के चेयरमैन हो, आरबीआई के गवर्नर हो, कंट्रोलर एंड ऑडिटर जनरल हो, नीति आयोग के चेयरमैन हो, फाइनेंस का लॉ कमीशन के चेयरमैन हो। अब ये इंडिपेंडेंट बॉडीज अगर मिलके एक कुछ देश के लिए एक अच्छा सा सजेशन देगी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट उस पर जजमेंट देगा, तो फिर आपको दिक्कत कहां से है? आप भागे भागे क्यों आ रहे हैं? सुप्रीम कोर्ट कह रहा है कि नहीं ये काम करो जी, इस पीआईएल को सुनो ही मत, इस पे आगे बढ़ो मत।
That is the question. Exactly, why is the Aam Aadmi Party so nervous? Do you feel that your performance is so low that if you weren't able to promise free water and electricity, nobody will vote for you?
Let me answer. Let's not pass judgment calls, Shivani. Let me answer. I've heard both of them. I've heard you. The Aam Aadmi Party has intervened and said, like Mr. Ashwini Upadhyay just clarified, कि वो वेलफेयर स्कीम्स के अगेंस्ट नहीं है, वो फ्रीबीज के अगेंस्ट हैं, जैसे कि सिलेंडर, गैस, ये लैपटॉप, ये सारा काम बीजेपी करती है। और आई एम सॉरी टू टेल यू द ट्रूथ, जो इन्होंने पिटिशन सुप्रीम कोर्ट में डाली है, इन्होंने भाजपा का नाम तो नहीं लिखा, पर कांग्रेस सपा का नाम जरूर मेंशन्ड है। आई एम ऑल्सो सॉरी टू ब्रिंग अनदर फैक्ट टू योर नोटिस that Mr. Ashwini Upadhyay is on bail after he was organizing an event for BJP and was arrested on charges of hate mongering. So obviously his view is definitely biased, Shivani, and also
that may be so. I am not presenting him as an independent voice here. We all know his affiliation to the BJP. No, Priyanka, I'm sorry. When you make personal allegations against a member of the panel, I have to intervene. That doesn't mean that the questions he's raising are not legitimate.
I'm not making personal allegations. It is a fact that he is biased and your audience must know it.
No, that does not mean that you don't have to answer the questions that I'm asking you. And you've gone to the Supreme Court. He didn't bring you to the court.
I am telling you the bias where it is coming from. I have not used any incorrect language. I'm stating facts. If facts are hurtful, what do I do about it?
No, you are bringing something else into this petition. It has no bearing on this petition.
I am saying that his point of view is not neutral.
Okay.
He definitely, when he says that he is not against welfare schemes and says schools, hospitals. Let me finish, sir. I did not interrupt while you were speaking.
Okay, but Priyanka, finish quickly.
Now. So when he is very clearly saying, that welfare schemes are good education, subsidized water, good schooling, and at the same time then he is questioning the schooling. Both your panel members said हमारे MLA विधायक के बच्चे क्यों नहीं पढ़ते? एक simple Google research कोई भी कर लेगा, दिख जाएगा कौन पढ़ता है कौन नहीं पढ़ता. I don't want to go into that because the मुद्दा right now today, which I'll bring back to the मुद्दा is, जैसा अश्विनी उपाध्याय जी ने कहा कि रेवड़ियों का मतलब, फ्रीबीज का मतलब सिलेंडर गैस है, तो ये कौन दे रहा है? One is that aspect. Secondly, मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ आरपी सिंह जी से दोबारा, जो उन्होंने नहीं उत्तर दिया. उन्होंने कहा कि राइट ऑफ मतलब रिकवरेबल है. सर, कब रिकवरेबल है? 10 साल बाद आप 11 लाख करोड़ आज राइट ऑफ कर देंगे, उसके बाद आप जनता का दही और पनीर पे टैक्स आज लगाएंगे, उनसे बाद में रिकवर करेंगे. उसका क्या तात्पर्य निकाला जाए?
Okay, 1 second. Mr. Subramaniam has not spoken, but Ashwini Upadhyay is here with us for a limited period of time, so I'll allow him to finish. But the point here really is that if cylinders and TV and color sets were the issues, I'm not sure why the Aam Aadmi Party jumped into this fray. Nobody has ever accused you of giving free color sets.
No, because...
But you also had a guilty conscience, no? That's why you went to court over freebies, because you thought that free water and electricity will be curbed.
That is not how law works, Shivani.
Exactly, then why did you jump into this? Nobody was training their guns on you. Anyways, let Ashwini finish, then I'll come back to you, Priyanka.
Because we are an interested
Ashwini.
party. Suddenly, अगर आप माहौल बनाएंगे, आप 8,000 करोड़ का बजट में से शिक्षा पे काट देंगे.
Priyanka, one by one, let him finish, I'll come back to you. Let him finish, I'll come back to you. Ashwini, please.
देखिए, पहली बात तो इनके आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता और खासतौर पे मुख्यमंत्री ये टीवी पे कुछ और बात कह रहे हैं, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कुछ और बात कह रहे हैं. अगर इनके पास कोई डेटा है कि 10 लाख करोड़ का लोन माफ हो गया, तो जब इन्होंने सुप्रीम कोर्ट में इंटरव्यू किया मेरी पीआईएल में, तो 10 लाख करोड़ का वो डिटेल दे देना चाहिए था, नाम भी बता देना चाहिए था. इन्होंने क्यों नहीं दिया? आप इनकी जरा पिटीशन पढ़िए. इन्होंने केवल एक बात कही है, प्लीज आप इस पीआईएल को मत सुनिए और इस पे आगे मत बढ़िए, फ्रीबीज को मत रोकिए. अब इनके नेता, इनके प्रवक्ता टीवी पे आके कहते हैं जी वो दोस्तों को खर्च कर दिया। अरे ले आओ ना, आप केजरीवाल बताएं कि जितनी बात वो टीवी पे बोलते हैं और उनके प्रवक्ता टीवी पे आके बोलते हैं, वो बात उस सुप्रीम कोर्ट के रिकॉर्ड में क्यों नहीं ला रहे? अगर आपको लगता है कि हाँ 10 लाख करोड़ का लोन माफ हुआ और गलत माफ हुआ, तो आपको शर्म आ रही थी सुप्रीम कोर्ट को बताने में। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में आप केवल ये कहने चले आए अश्विनी उपाध्याय की पीआईएल मत सुनो, इस पे आप कमेटी मत फॉर्म करो, फ्रीबीज को मत रोको। क्यों भाई? आप आके बताते कि ये गलत है, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट।
अश्विनी उपाध्याय, माय फाइनल क्वेश्चन टू यू बिफोर आई गो अक्रॉस टू मिस्टर सुब्रमण्यम। जल्दी सर, टाइम की कमी है।
इनकी पिटीशन में कहीं कुछ नहीं लिखा, इन्होंने केवल टीवी पे बतौलेबाजी कर रहे हैं। एक्चुअल में केवल इस मामले पे डिबेट नहीं चाहते, इस मामले में डिस्कशन नहीं चाहते।
अब तो डिबेट हो गई इस मामले पे, वो तो शुरू हो गई। एंड गवर्नमेंट सोर्सेज, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट सोर्सेज आर आल्सो टेलिंग CNN News 18 they are very ready to debate this issue in parliament also. Ashwini Upadhyay, where have you gone? All right, it seems like we've lost his link, but Mr. Subramaniam, you've been listening very patiently. Yes. Is there a lot of political rhetoric that is entering what is purely an economic conversation? Do you find these arguments that, you know, there are bad loans that are written off of the balance sheets, and then, you know, there are other fraudsters, for example, who fraud banks, that none of that has a bearing on what governments promise during elections? And this is predominantly a question of what governments promise. Do you feel that there is a slippery slope today where governments are promising the moon without looking at the expenditure of the state?
Yeah, so primarily let me answer your question first, that governments across the world, not only in India, but across the world, promise the moon. Because first of all, government does not have any money to spend on its own, and what it is spending is taxpayers' money. And I would not spare any party here, be it the left, right, or the center. Every single party does this. And if it was a welfare scheme, let me first clarify to all panelists here, whatever political affiliations you might have, if it is a welfare measure, it is not announced before the election. Now, whether it is a color TV, whether it is a cycle scooter, I don't care what it is. But the primary fact that you announce it before an election clearly proves that it is a quid pro quo. So the state, the people are getting bribed. To put it long story short, governments do not have the authority to bribe the people for votes, and that too, it is being taken from my right pocket and given into my left. And that is the simple problem. See, every single party has its reasoning behind it, and they hide behind these reasons, saying that this is something very important, this is welfare, this is for the poor. But never has it come that a political party has the gumption to admit that yes, this is vote buying out.
No, I think you've simplified this issue. Over the last few days, we've been wanting to simplify this issue. And Mr. Subramaniam, you've done that. When you announce these as election promises before the elections, it is a quid pro quo. Welfare schemes are announced after you come to power under government AGs.
And welfare schemes, and welfare schemes are announced when you have surplus money. We are not Singapore, where we have surplus in our budget. We are already running fiscally down as a nation, as a state. Look at the power finance corporations of individual states. We are bleeding. We do not have money to pay salaries. We are not able to pay our bonds. The OMCs are in a bad shape. There is this absolute problem of fiscal discipline with regards to states. And states left, right, and center. Today, Mr. Kejriwal has gone to the court. I don't think so he has any locus standi, despite being the fact that I'm not trying to speak on behalf of the right or left. But what I'm trying to say is Mr. Kejriwal has no locus standi saying that this is a welfare scheme. For the simple reason, if it is a welfare scheme, you need to have fiscal prudence. As the Prime Minister said, you cannot build highways or roads or do infrastructure projects if you are left, right, center going to dole out such things.
Dole out such
and
freebies.
Buy out
All
votes.
right. Buy votes. That's the crux of this issue, and that's why even a body like the Supreme Court has gotten involved, because essentially this is about something we hold very dear, that elections need to be free and fair. And if these freebies become about buying votes, then it hits at the very crux of our democracy. I've run out of time. I'm sorry, I've run out of time. I promise I will get all of you back, because this debate is not going anywhere. This debate is just starting. Thanks a lot for your time today. Time for a very short break. On the other side, a special presentation, a Commonwealth Games 2022 special. India's new icons. We'll get you them face to face and personal. Stay with us.